everybody, Cinema Sickness here with this week's Weekly Watched, where we take a look at all the titles I watched throughout the week, and I briefly talk about them. So let's take a look at everything I checked out. So the first title I watched this week was Friday the 13th, which I did watch on Friday the 13th, even though the Halloween Horror-thon is coming up, and I've been putting off watching any horror movies for the last few months until the Halloween Horror-thon was coming. It was Friday the 13th. How could I watch anything else on that day other than a Friday the 13th movie? And I decided to go with the classic. You know, I like the other Friday the 13th movies. I was actually thinking about maybe watching Friday the 13th Part 2, because it's been a while since I've seen that. But, again, just decided to go with the classic and watch Friday the 13th, the uncut version. I say uncut because there's not a lot of actual different footage added on here. It's some death scenes that are extended, but barely extended at all. So the uncut version is not really all that much different than the non-uncut version. But still, very cool. It's a fantastic movie. It's one of the greatest slashers ever made. I'm sure everybody watching this video right now has seen Friday the 13th. If you haven't, stop watching this video. Go out and buy this. Check it out. It's just one of the best. And again, definitely the movie I had to watch on Friday the 13th. So I'm not going to get into it. I'm not going to talk about it. It's Friday the 13th. Again, I'm sure you've all seen it, but if you haven't, definitely watch it. The next title I checked out this week was Dolphin Tale. Now, this is a movie I actually really enjoyed, but let me just say, I'm a sucker for feel-good movies. People helping people helping animals, animals helping people. I am a sucker for that. A movie that kind of gets you choked up, just the type of movie I love. And that's exactly what this movie was. It's about people helping this dolphin who ends up getting caught in he ends up getting caught in a rope, or has this rope all wrapped around him, and it hurts his tail, and his tail gets infected. In order to save the dolphin's life, they have to cut his tail off. Well, he can't swim with his tail cut off, so he ends up doing this thing where he kind of like wags his tail sort of like back and forth instead of up and down like dolphins do. And in doing that, it's hurting his spine, and it's going to end up killing him. So basically, this dolphin's going to die. There's really nothing they could do about it. He doesn't have a tail anymore. He's not swimming correctly. You know, he still needs to swim. He still wants to swim. So he's doing this wading back and forth thing, which propels him, but it's going to kill him. So, of course, they end up developing this prosthetic tail for this dolphin, and it's a great story. Though, from what I've read, there's a lot added to this movie. I kind of was curious, because at the end of the movie, they show the actual real pictures from the movie. Real pictures from the actual events. And in those pictures, I was like, I don't see this person, I don't see that person. You know, there were people from this event that I was like, that were missing, that were in the movie. So I did a little research, and yes, there was plenty of story added to this movie. This is definitely based on a true story, probably loosely based. They developed a prosthetic limb for this dolphin, and that's probably as far as the actual real story is concerned. But still, a really good watch, one I would definitely recommend. But there is a major problem with this movie, and that's the fact that this movie was a 3D film. I don't have the 3D version, I just have the regular 2D version. But the movie's great, except for the 3D parts, because they're all just added. They had this movie, and they went, you know what, let's make it 3D. We'll just throw in some random 3D parts that have nothing to do with the movie whatsoever. And there we go, 3D. The beginning of the movie starts off with CGI dolphins swimming around. They look CGI, and I understand why they're doing that, because they're making them do tricks and jump through the air and all kinds of fun stuff like that. They're making them do that for 3D, I'm sure. It looks great in 3D, them swimming through the ocean and stuff. Probably like they were swimming right in front of you. But I'm watching this going, this should just be real dolphins. They should have real dolphins swimming around. These shouldn't be CGI dolphins. It looked bad. There's another scene where the young boy from the movie, he apparently, one of his hobbies is flying remote control airplane, or remote control helicopters. He builds them and flies them, which, again, just kind of thrown into the story. And there's this random scene where he's flying it, and this girl who he's like befriended and kind of likes, she comes over and, oh, I want to fly, and they start kind of arguing, and the helicopter goes out of control, and of course it's flying around, and it comes up and stops and hovers in front of you, and then flies off, and stupid shit like that, really stupid 3D shit that has nothing whatsoever to do with the entire plot of the story. It felt so forced. It was just a little 2-minute, 3-minute segment just to add some 3D wackiness to the movie, which drove me nuts too, because you got this helicopter flying around this building. It ends up going into a building and flying around, never hitting a single thing. This helicopter never touches anything, just flies around all crazy, out of control, never touches a single wall or pillar or floor or anything like that. Flies, you know, even though it's going crazy, flies perfectly through this building and then comes out of the building and crashes right in front of them. Stupid, stupid, stupid. There was one part that I was like kind of okay with, and that's when Morgan Freeman's designing the prosthetic tail for the dolphin. They have this thing where he's designing it, and then like there's kind of like pictures, like sketches of the drawing and stuff like coming up on the screen, and that's all in 3D, I guess. But you know, I can live with that. That's fine. It still seemed cheesy, but it was whatever. But it's really the helicopter scene that got to me the most. It was just really stupid and really out of place, and of course the CGI dolphins in the beginning of the movie, they just should have been real dolphins. So the 3D aspect of this movie, absolutely pointless, absolutely stupid, completely not needed. And as much as I enjoy 3D movies, I have nothing wrong with 3D movies, they're fun, but 3D movies, you shouldn't, I know it's a fad right now, but you shouldn't take a good movie and just say, oh, let's make it a 3D movie and dumb down your movie just to make it a 3D movie. You shouldn't do that. So Dolphin Tale, great story. I really enjoyed it. I would definitely recommend it if you like feel-good, family-friendly movies. This is definitely one to check out, but be warned, really stupid 3D parts. Then I checked out Slums of Beverly Hills. As it says right here, a 70s Clueless by Interview Magazine. This is not a 70s Clueless. It takes place in the 70s, but it's nothing like Clueless at all. But still a really good watch. I really enjoy this. If you want to see a movie about a really fucked up family who has a lot of issues, this is one to check out. It's just constant crazy issues just piling up and piling up and piling up. This family has its problems, but it makes for a really good story. Very entertaining, definitely some funny moments. Love all the characters. They're kind of wacky and zany, but really fun all at the same time. You kind of, you know, you care for them a bit, especially at the end of the movie when they realize that kind of they're all family and that their craziness is who they are, and that's just who they are, and they should embrace it. So again, not really going to get too much into this movie, but it was a good watch. One I would definitely recommend. Again, don't take the front as the you know, honest truth. It's not. This movie's nothing like Clueless, but still a good watch. Nevertheless, if you haven't seen it, definitely check it out. Then I did watch a 3D movie, and that was World War Z. Watched this one the day I picked it up, and this was a decent movie, even though I had the hardest. If you guys see my video for this, if you haven't seen it yet, I have a hunting video just for this one movie. It was a huge hassle to get a copy of this, and drove me insane. So I had to watch it that night. Again, I'm trying to put off watching any horror movies until the Halloween Horror-thon, but with the hassle I went through to get this, I was watching it, and I did really enjoy it. It was a good movie. I guess for the most part worth the hassle. I did watch it in 3D. The 3D was good. It was used well. It wasn't. Again, it didn't feel forced. There were parts where I kind of even forgot that I was watching it in 3D because it just wasn't. You know, it was basically just a movie in 3D, but nothing necessarily flying at you too much. So a good watch. I would recommend it. A fun zombie film, like a bio-zombie film. Definitely one that was very fun, and I would definitely recommend. I would say, though, that I kind of felt like something was missing at the end of the movie. I don't know what. I can't quite put my finger on it. The movie was over, and I went, just something seemed like it was missing. I wanted more, maybe. I don't know. Maybe I kind of wanted to hear more story of you know, what exactly happened to get rid of the zombies. I mean, they do show at the end. They come up with, they realize how to, I'm not going to ruin it for you, but they realize how to kind of stop the zombie invasion and how to stop you from being attacked by zombies, and they start using that. And they show that a little bit at the end, but maybe I wanted to see more of that part of the story. I don't know. Even though it was a really good watch, it was very suspenseful, very intense. The zombies were great in this. There's some great scenes with these, you know, zombies where they're gonna attack, and just some great suspenseful moments, and I really enjoyed those parts of the movie. But again, in the end, I just kind of felt like something was missing a bit. Maybe I wanted something more, but like I said, I can't quite put my finger on what that was. I don't know what that feeling that I had at the end of the movie, you know, what that was all about. But I did want something a little bit more from this. I just don't quite know what that was. But regardless, it was a good movie. One I would definitely recommend. Brad Pitt was fantastic in it. So World War Z, if you like bio-zombie films, this is one to check out. Then, as you guys know, I'm just about to head off to Walt Disney World, so of course I had to watch my Disney Parks 2013 Vacation Planning DVD. These are awesome. I'm a huge sucker for these. They're absolutely free. You can get them from the Disney Vacations website. These are definitely worth getting. I get one every single year. I have ones from the past like 10 years. I have ones from the 80s and the 90s. These are fantastic. I got a whole bunch of these even on VHS. They're just great, great watches. So what these are, basically, as it says, vacation planning DVDs. They let you know everything that's going on in the parks for this year, all the new stuff that's coming, how to take advantage of, maybe paying less, where to eat, what kind of deals you can get, what kind of plans you can get when you go on vacation, all kinds of things like that, where to stay, what hotels to stay in. They're a good watch. They're fun if you like the parks. If you're a fan of the Disney parks, these are really, really cool to check out. And what I love about these is that in 10 years from now, I can pop this in and see all the things that aren't there anymore, all the things that were going on at the time, maybe things that, are staples now at Disney. In 10 years from now, we'll go, oh yeah, that ride there, that's, I can't imagine that ride never being there. But in this, I'll be like, see, this is the year it was new. Cool things like that. I love watching the ones I have from the 80s and the 90s. They're great watches because you just see all kinds of things that were new at the time or just aren't there anymore. I mean, I can't even begin to explain to you how many of these I've watched from, again, the 80s and 90s that I'm amazed by all this stuff that is just not in the park anymore. So these are great watches. I did watch everything. I watched the one that talks about both parks. Talks about Walt Disney World. It talks about Disneyland. It also talks about the cruise line they have. Unfortunately, what they don't talk about is they don't talk about like the Euro Disney, and they don't talk about Tokyo Disney and stuff like that. I really wish they would have talked about those more. It'd be really cool if we could see more about those parks. That would be awesome, but they kind of just stick to the main U.S. parks and the cruise line. So definitely something I'd recommend checking out. Again, if you're a fan of the parks, these are something to pick up. You can get one of these, again, for free every single year, usually around, I think it's like December of every year, maybe like November, December every year. They start putting a new one out for the following year. So again, I would highly recommend picking these up. They're great, great watches, but only if you're a fan of the parks. If you're not some huge Disney World or Disneyland nut, then these aren't going to interest you at all. You're not going to have any interest in checking these out. But again, if you're a big fan of the parks, definitely something for your collection. And it got me really excited to go. They showed all kinds of fun new stuff that's going on this year, things I already knew about, but it was nice to see them actually, in video. So definitely excited to go to Disney, and this was definitely a great watch. Then I checked out a movie that finally finishes off a series for me. Even though there are only 4 titles within this series, it's taken me about 2 months to finally get around to completing it, and that was Meatballs 4. I've now seen all 4 Meatballs movies, which is great because up to about 2 months ago, I had only seen the first one, which is a great film. I love it. I've seen it a dozen times. Great, great movie. But I've always wanted to get around to watching a sequel, and since I had all 4, I had all 4 movies, so I had all 3 sequels, I definitely had to check them out. And they were all fun in their own ways. They're cheesy. 2 and 4 don't have anything to do with the original at all. 3 only has a person in the movie who's supposed to be one of the characters from the first movie. But besides that, it has nothing to do with the first movie at all either. So really, all 3 movies have nothing to do with the first movie. But 4 here was a lot of fun. It's just a cheeseball Meatballs movie starring Corey Feldman, which, if that name alone doesn't sell you, then I don't know what will. I love Corey Feldman. He's just cheesy as hell. We get a great Michael Jackson dance from him in here. As you guys know, Corey Feldman is a Michael Jackson nut, completely obsessed, and you're going to know it in this movie because we get a great Michael Jackson dance from him in this film that just cracked me the hell up. When he started doing that the music he was dancing to sounded very, very, very much like Michael Jackson's Black and White, but obviously kind of a knockoff, kind of as close as they could get to Black and White without probably getting sued. But again, such a funny scene. I was on the floor laughing. It was hilarious. So just, again, a great Meatballs movie. Guys, and I guess some women, tons of TNA. If that's your thing, you're going to get plenty of that in this movie. It is all over the place. This movie is not shy of TNA at all. But again, another fun movie, all about a camp trying to be taken over by another camp, and there's a ski competition, water skiing and like wakeboarding and jet skiing, all that kind of, all those water sports competition going on between the 2 camps, and whoever wins, gets to keep their camp and blah, blah, blah. But still, a fun movie. Again, I would recommend all 4 Meatball films. The first one, obviously, again, is the classic, just such a great film. But the 3 after that, they're all cheesy, they're all ridiculous, they're all their own movie. I mean, you're going to watch all 4 of these movies and realize that they don't feel, each one does not feel like another one. They all feel like their own movie. They don't feel like a continuation off the first one. And that's kind of one of the things I enjoyed about the Meatballs films, all 4 movies, is the fact that they all felt like their own film. I wasn't watching a movie and thinking back to the first one. No, I was watching a movie and only thinking about that one because it just felt like its own film. So, again, I'd recommend all 4 Meatballs movies. They're cheesy, they're ridiculous, but man, are they fun. The next movie I checked out this week was another 3D film, and that was Dread. And this was a movie I had really been looking forward to checking out because I had heard nothing but fantastic things about this film. I heard it was just full of great action, lots of bloodshed, tons of violence. It just sounded like my kind of film, and I was not let down at all. This movie was a hell of a lot of fun. Dredd in this movie, bad as Dredd. I loved him in this film. He was such a great character. Love all his great one-liners. Just a fantastic, take no shit from nobody character. Absolutely brilliant. The movie all takes place really in this one building. I mean, him and another judge get locked in this building, and they had to fend for themselves. Just these 2 judges fending off an entire building of baddies, and it was great. Again, lots and lots of violence and action. Just a fun movie. If you're an action junkie, this is one to check out. I do kind of see how people were comparing it to, Raid Redemption, because, yeah, they're trapped in a building. They had to, get up to the top floor to get the bad guy. Yeah, kind of similar, but, watching it, I wasn't thinking of Raid Redemption at all. I mean, yeah, I could see why it was compared, the comparison, why they compared the 2 movies, but again, I wasn't watching this thinking of that movie. I do feel that they are 2 very different films, so I would definitely recommend Dread. It was great. The 3D was fun too, because there's some cool scenes. They take this drug called slow-mo, and it slows everything down. It makes everything kind of sparkle and stuff. And when they're doing the drug, that looked pretty cool in 3D. So there are some cool 3D special effects in this movie. So again, Dread, I would definitely recommend checking it out. There's not too much to say about it. Like I said, it's just 2 judges trapped in a building, having to get to the top to get the bad guy, trying to defend themselves and not get killed. That's basically the very simple plot of the film, but a damn good film. So action junkies, check out Dread. And the last title I watched this week was Django, or as my wife calls it, the Django. Now this here, and I know some of you guys are going to roll your eyes and groan at this, but this is my first ever spaghetti western. I've never seen a spaghetti western until I had watched this one. The reason being is because I always come across like spaghetti western sets, and I always hear people talking about spaghetti westerns and how, oh, this movie's a good spaghetti western, that movie's a good spaghetti western. But since I had never actually seen a spaghetti western, I didn't know if I would really like them. I mean, I love American westerns, but would I like Italian westerns? I really wasn't all that sure. So I just never really got into them, never really decided to really check them out until Django, until I got this for dirt cheap. And I really wanted to see Django Unchained, which I will watch. I'll probably watch it after my Halloween Horror-thon. I'll be checking it out real soon after that. So since I really wanted to watch that movie, I wanted to see the original first. I'm like, I got to see the original Django before I see Django Unchained. And it was fantastic. I'm officially a fan of spaghetti westerns. If they're anything like this movie, I am absolutely sold. This movie was a hell of a lot of fun. Django, badass in this movie. And I kind of like that he's sort of like an anti-hero. He's not really a good guy. He's not really a bad guy. He's just kind of on his own side. He's got his own things. He just really cares about himself. He's looking out for number one. That's it. Again, he's not really a good guy, not really a bad guy. I mean, he will do nice things. He will save people if he feels they're worth saving, but he'll also kill people if he feels they're worth killing. He doesn't really give a shit. And that's kind of what I liked about the characters. That he's not a hero. He's not your typical like Western hero. He's just his own hero. He only cares about himself, and if anybody gets in his way, he's going to take him out, and if he thinks, you're worthy of living, then he'll allow you to live. Maybe he'll befriend you. Who knows? So Django, a great film. It's a Western. I don't have too much to say about it. I mean, there's 2 groups of people who are fighting each other. Django kind of gets himself wrapped up in the middle of it and has to deal with both groups. but a fun watch. So I would definitely recommend this if you haven't seen Django Unchained yet. Pick this up, watch it first, and if you have seen Django Unchained, still pick this up and check it out. It's definitely worth seeing. I can't wait to watch it and see his cameo, because apparently the original Django makes a cameo in the new Django Unchained movie, and I'm really anticipating seeing that. So a great film, great spaghetti western, and I'm officially now a fan of spaghetti westerns, and I'll be watching a hell of a lot more. So Django, check it out. So there you go, guys. It's everything I checked out this week. Definitely watched a ton of great titles. Now, as you guys are probably aware, or maybe you're not aware, my Halloween Horror-thon's coming up. And what that is, for those of you who do not know, from the first day of fall all the way up until October 31st, I watch nothing but horror and Halloween-related titles. Anything scary or just anything that you would watch during the Halloween season, I check out. I watch nothing else but that. Now, with that being said, I am about to head off to Disney, so I won't be watching very many movies from like September, I guess like 24th, 25th, till I get back on October 6th. Won't be watching a lot of movies then because I'll be in Disney. I'll probably watch one on the plane ride down, probably one on the plane ride back, and maybe possibly one while I'm actually on vacation. Like the last 2 times I was down there, I actually ended up watching a movie while I was on vacation. We ended up going back to the hotel to spend some time there for a little bit just to rest, and I ended up watching a film. So, I might watch 2 or 3 movies within my vacation period. Will they all be horror-related? That's what I'm waiting to see. And the reason I say that is because my wife has been talking about how on the way down and on the way back, we can watch a movie. She's looking forward to watching a movie on my laptop. Well, with that being said, my wife likes horror movies. She has nothing wrong with them, but she's kind of picky about her horror films. She doesn't like all of them. She likes kind of some of the more mainstream ones, but just very, very picky when it comes to horror movies. And the horror movies I'm planning on watching are some of the ones I have digital copies of that are on my laptop. And I don't really know if she's going to have any interest in watching any of those. So I'm kind of hoping maybe I can watch them anyway, and she can, watch something on her phone, or maybe she'll bring her computer or something like that. Or maybe she'll even watch them with me. Who knows? But if she talks me into watching something that's not horror-related, who knows? It could happen. So we'll see. I really want to keep everything horror-related. That is what I do every single year, so hopefully I won't have to watch anything not horror-related. But hey, sometimes your wife does control me a little bit, and we'll see what happens. But hopefully I'll be able to watch nothing but horror-related titles, and when I get back from Disney, I'll talk to you guys about them. So stay tuned for my Halloween Horror-thon. Definitely looking forward to watching nothing but horror-related titles. It's going to be awesome. I love this every single year. I'm a big fan of horror movies. It's my all-time favorite genre of film, so definitely excited to sit down and watch some great movies. There's a lot of new movies I have to watch, and there's a lot of movies that are classic movies that I just haven't watched in a while that I definitely want to rewatch. Things like The Shining. I haven't seen The Shining in a few years. It's a great movie. I've seen it a ton of times, but it's been a couple years since I've checked it out. So movies like that, I'm definitely looking forward to rewatching this year. So stay tuned for my Halloween Horror-thon. So that is it, guys. Thanks for watching. If you like this video, please give me a like. If you're not already subbed, please do. So that's it. Stay tuned for my next video. See ya.